right, welcome everybody to the Tuesday, December 9th regular business meeting. May I please have a motion to call the meeting to order?
So moved.
So moved, Linda, second. Michele, all in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to move into an executive session for the purpose of discussing a personnel matter. So moved, Carole, second. Linda, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll be back about 15 minutes. All right, welcome back. May I please have a motion to move out of executive session and back into public session, please? So moved, Michele, second. Linda, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Please stand for the pledge. Oops, sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And a motion to approve the agenda tonight, please. So moved. Carole, second. Linda, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. That brings us to our liaisons, or liaison, no, we have liaisons tonight, right? Aren't they both coming up?
I think so. Gia, are you coming? You coming up or no?
Oh,
okay, great.
Sorry.
No worries. It's all good.
Sorry, no problem.
Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. Happy holiday season. Finally made it to December. Very excited for the 2-week break. It's coming up fast. To start off, I have a few updates from November since we had like a bunch of stuff going on. So the Julie Berry visit, I was able to go. It was really cool. A lot of interesting things were learned. There were a lot of prizes given out, so it was just a lot of fun. Hopefully we can have some more of those types of visit things. The blood drive also went smoothly thanks to the NHS volunteers and just other volunteers in general. So yeah, now on to some December things. We have a lot of winter concerts coming up. The next one is, the last one, is on the 16th. And at these concerts, Tri-Am is collecting canned good items, which will be donated to Hope House, and this will help people in need just for the holiday season. And then Tri-Am is also collecting pop tabs for the Ronald McDonald House. This collection will be taking place for the whole year and will eventually raise money for families to get proper health care. We, of course, have some fun events coming up. For students, next week is Spirit Week, so I know the PTSA and Student Council are planning some fun things, hopefully. And then I know we have like some theme days going on, like Pajama Day is Monday, and then we have Ugly Sweater Contest too. But earlier today, Link Crew invited their freshmen to meet up and have a gingerbread contest. I was there earlier, there was hot chocolate, a lot of fun. Unfortunately, my house didn't really work well, but that's okay. There were some really cute ones that did work out good. And then we also have our talent showcase, which is happening on December 12th. And I know there will be a Carol of the Bells Boomwhacker performance from our possibly up-and-coming Boomwhacker Club. So that's definitely something new, but hopefully we can get some more performances out of them. And then winter sports are just getting started. Our track team had their first meet this past Saturday, which went well. And I know we are also planning to have a Can Drive fundraiser. So hopefully I can give some updates on that later in January. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Awesome.
Can you tell us what was that club?
What's the club?
The Boomwhacker Club, it's
Yeah.
like the tubes and like you hit them and they like make a sound. So like each one has a
Okay.
part. And they're performing Carol of the Bells. So
Oh,
hopefully
nice.
that turns out good.
That's awesome.
So
Thanks,
Yep.
Rebecca.
I
Thank
like
you
it.
so much. That's great.
Thank you.
Joni's right there.
Yeah, Joni's here. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
I can't wait to see that. I love those things. It's snowing. It's beautiful out. Okay, we did have some guests that were not guests, some other WTA members, but they had concerts that they needed to be attending, and another meeting that they are attending. But we are planned here on in from January to June with members who will be accompanying me up here. So I will get to play rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I would have played with you. I won the last student, just so you know. Okay. Not that WTA is a little competitive. All right. You guys, you know, it's December, the holidays are here, you know, we are all stretched and we stretch ourselves even more. And that's part of the awesomeness and the adaptability. So I went old school, because a student said, go ahead, Miss Barnabas, do it. So we did A. Awesome. Our outreach, every one of our buildings, you know it, are pouring into our community items that kids need, not just our community, and giving right back to Webster, giving back to, we have students coming in and adopting schools or just classrooms in the city areas all throughout Monroe County. It's really neat to see the drive and the feeling that we are constantly giving them to empower them and have voice and bring, what do you want to collect? From socks and underwear to coats and mittens, and all these drives continue every month. I do believe there's hundreds of items that have been collected at each and every school for our community and for our area. WTA is certainly dedicated to our students, to our community. There's no doubt, you know that as a board, you know that as our DAO. You saw us here. Some of you were here. We have an appreciation for all our other bargaining units. We know we cannot do this alone, and we travel every day together. Phone free. I was asked to stop talking after that, just smile, because it's been something I love for years. They're talking. We're talking more, we're conversing, we're socializing. You see more faces and not the tops of people's heads. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece that we have added. We're adjusting to our ever-changing technology and the rules that are out there and the guidelines, and trying to adjust and really be aware of what you sign on when you hit accept cookies. Boundaries. Really don't have any, because they do. We reach out not only throughout our community, our school, but at the state level. We are constantly, our WTA member delegates are going and are active. You will see this coming back up. We include our reps, our retirees, our new people. We have asked people to be on committees, share our voices, and continue to ask to be included. Our love for very healthy relationships, connections, and our love for learning. We include, again, we love to be included. Tier 6, March 8th. We're hoping people are going to be there, because we know if we help be active in those things, that will help recruit more people to a field we are very passionate about. Last month, I brought people who won the Golden Apple. This month, not only was a person, they didn't win the Golden Apple on the news, but they need the newspaper for teaching out Power to Persuade. Brian Bond and his class, they reach out, they read the newspaper, the whole class is sitting reading, looking, asking those questions, having really difficult conversations on things that we wish sometimes we could give answers that are different, but we need to be honest. It's a really neat class. He reaches out. He's also been published. And they love to have him there. They end this article, and it was in the November 9th edition. Thank you for forwarding. So a big thank you to Brian Bond and his students and everybody else that's continuing to have students ask questions, have their voices heard. Brian responds, I'm pretty passionate about the course. And the reporter looks back and goes, may we all share in your passion. It's pretty amazing. It's a great article if you've had a chance to read it. Our thank yous from a parent who reached out. You were both so supportive of our son, and we will always remember how much you cared about him. Although we moved to a different side of Webster and we had different schools to go to, so when he visits, wearing his cap and gown, going back on the parade, we are hoping that we can make time to go over and see you and your colleagues as well. This year, teacher match and our child are amazing. We may have cried a few tears when we left their parent-teacher conference. I'm not afraid to mention that. It really does take a village, and I am so thankful that you teachers have helped get my girl to this point. And this is one of the coolest. Wanted to wish you a happy birthday, and I hope you have an amazing birthday. And I thank you for teaching me so many things I never knew I didn't know. That's an elementary school. Oh, it was awesome. Thank you. I hope the holiday that's in your heart is the holiday you all have. We're WTA members, we're strong, we're in solidarity. We operate with you behind us, and we know that, and we thank you.
Thanks, Joni.
Naya, do you want to come up and talk about Thomas? Thank you.
Sounds good.
We're all wearing white.
Sorry, you're a couple minutes
You're
late,
fine.
you guys. All right, let me just pull it up. All right. Hello, everyone. I know it's been a little bit, but I'm happy to be back, and I'm excited to see you all. I hope everyone had an amazing Thanksgiving, and I'm thankful that I did. But on with the announcements, there have been a bunch of fun things happening at Thomas throughout the end of November to present day. So this month's report is a little longer, but not that long, but that's a good thing. To begin, at the end of last month, some of our amazing actors got to perform in our annual play. This year, it was Much Ado About Nothing, and I also know that a couple teachers in coordination decided to teach it this year, which is a great opportunity. The play was a huge success. I really wish I got to see it, especially since last year's was so good, but I know from my peers that it was really fun to put on and also to watch. I even remember a couple of my classmates growing out their beards for it, so that was fun to watch. Model UN also had so much fun at our annual UNAR conference, where we got to represent Indonesia, the United Kingdom, and Finland. As a senior, it was fun, but also sad since my last UNAR conference, because it was my last UNAR conference, but luckily I left with a bang, being able to reestablish the British Empire in the Security Council. A record-breaking number of Thomas students participated in the conference this year, 37 delegates and 3 committee chairs. Shout out to Spencer G., who got the Outstanding Delegate in the World Health Organization, and Charlotte B., who got Best Journalist in Press Corps. In addition, Earth Club traveled to Hobart and William Smith College for the Finger Lakes Youth Climate Summit this week to attend workshops on topics related to the climate and to create a climate action plan for Webster Thomas. Last Friday, well, no, 2 Fridays ago, Dr. Sackett and the Thomas Select Choir attended Nazareth University Day of Voice, where they had choir workshops, campus tours, and like so many other things. I know my friend thought it was a great opportunity. Titan Service Scholars participated in a restaurant fundraiser takeover at Mama Laura's. I was there and also back there. It was for our Dominican Republic service trip that I will tell you all about next time I see you, since we are leaving on the 28th.
Yes.
I'm so excited till January 8th.
Have fun.
Or January 5th, but I'm so excited. We were able to raise, I believe, around $3,000 at that one, which was a big fundraiser for us, and teachers came in and volunteered to work as well after their other job, teaching, and also overall support our trip. It was incredibly fun. The Black-Brown Student Union participated in a Friendsgiving at Schrader as an effort to extend and strengthen connections and collaboration, which I think is amazing. And lastly, Space Club went to the planetarium and Rochester Museum of Science. I wasn't able to attend as vice president, unfortunately, but I know we were planning this for so long and we were really, really excited for it. So it went well.
That's great.
Yes, that is all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Campus news. All right. So I am going to start out, but as I'm starting, I'd love to invite up my friend Mrs. Doyle and Dr. Callahan. If you guys could both come on up and join us. I'll start us out and turn things over in just a minute to Mrs. Doyle. All right, so I'm going to start tonight by sharing some very exciting news that maybe some of you have heard about, but we are incredibly thrilled and honored to announce the inaugural class of the Webster Athletic Hall of Fame. The first class includes pillars from across the decades of Webster athletics. So please join us in celebrating, and I'm going to take the moment here. I know there's 23 of them, but I am going to read all of their names in alphabetical order. Starts out with Kevin Akins, Chris Barnes, Brian Bliss, Dave Boots Boutillier, Mark Carlton, Jim Cripps, Carl Garitano, Gregor Gillespie, Bill Guerrera, Colleen Kelly, Patrick Kelly II, Brian Kozlowski, Jim Cruz, Rachel Cruz, Brenna Mason, Linda McCoy, Bill O'Rourke Jr., Bill O'Rourke Sr., Tom O'Rourke, Emily Resnick, Carrie Santor, Nina Scalzo, and Joseph Zaccardo. And what an incredible class, what an incredible process this has been, and this is just something that's going to be great for our community. And we invite our entire community to join us and honor the first class of the Webster Athletic Hall of Fame on January 2nd. January 2nd, the ceremony will be at Schrader in the auditorium to begin with at 3:30, followed by, they will be introduced in between the girls and boys basketball games where Thomas and Schrader will both be playing each other. The games start at 5:30 and 7:15, and in between, right around 7 o'clock, we will introduce them once again to everybody in the crowd there. But what a great experience it's been, and I'm really excited about that. All right. I also want to congratulate, I don't think I have a picture. Oh, yes, I do have a picture. I also want to congratulate our Schrader girls volleyball team on their state championship. This is their second state title in 3 years, and if you look at that picture there, we actually have quite a few girls that are going to be coming back next year to the team, and I think that the program is looking bright going forward. But another thing that we thought we'd mention, I know I was talking to our athletic directors, is this is 5 championships, state championships, for Schrader girls athletics in the last 5 years. We've had 2 volleyball, 1 girls basketball, flag football, and softball. Thank you very much. So those are just little highlights. So congratulations to the girls volleyball team, all the girls and their families. What a great group they were, hanging out with them. All right, next, I am going to turn things over to Mrs. Doyle to talk a little bit about our campus news.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. We'll get our slides, and then we'll be ready.
Right behind you.
What do you need me to do? Escape? You're the best.
There you go.
All right. So I'm presenting some pictures that you'll see that are of and representative of things happening in Plank South, but this is really across all 7 of our elementary buildings. I'm going to talk about our Walk to Read model that we have for
Yay,
literacy
that's
instruction.
exciting.
So I want to just acknowledge that the connection that we have to the Board of Education goal, and I'm going to read it because we're really doing all of these things. So we're prioritizing literacy through professional development. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Through high-quality instruction, I'll share a little bit about that. And through our research-based curriculum resources. And so I just think it's super exciting how tightly aligned our elementary goal is and what's happening currently in our buildings with what our Board of Ed goal is. So kind of just a brief intro to the path and how we got here. A few years back, we started with some of our education for all of our teachers in letters and changing our practices based on science of reading. There was a book that I have pictured up there, the 10 Success Factors for Literacy Intervention, and through that book, there was one specific chapter, chapter 3, in case anyone wants to go and read it, that highlights this specific model and some of the big takeaways around homogeneously grouping students based on their greatest skill deficit, ensuring that students are supported with varied class sizes, which intensifies the instruction, and that the walk to read instructional model really does include students walking out of their classrooms, and that's one of the fun parts, I think, of their day. Time to walk, get up and move. Our process started this summer with a Walk to Read District Committee that included administrators, TOSAs, turnkey trainers, literacy interventionists, and Dr. Leggett has been there throughout all of this, steering the helm. And then we had lots of PD starting the beginning of this year that was focused on greatest skill deficit and helping all teachers to be able to understand what that meant and how do we go about using data to determine the greatest skill deficit for students. One of the things I just want to highlight is this picture of the reading brain, and you'll see that later in one of the pictures I have of some of our students, and our Board of Ed got to see this as they came in to see third grade Walk to Read and how it's utilized in classrooms. But just briefly, it is a model that helps make reading and the process in which students learn to read really understandable for children, for parents, for teachers. And so really making some explicit connections between the parts of our brain and what their function is and how that connects to learning sounds, learning letters, putting meaning to words, and putting everything together. So that was shared with teachers back in the beginning of this year. We did a lot of benchmark data collection. We taught teachers some high impact routines during curriculum meetings, and all of these things are happening consistently throughout all 7 of our buildings. And our TOSAs and our turnkey trainers, which are letter turnkey trainers, are doing such an amazing job working collaboratively to kind of streamline and put together the methods for teachers that are putting it in front of students in a very consistent way. We've got some few pictures of one of our MTSS data meetings. So you'll notice there's some sticky notes. Every single student gets their own sticky note. They're color-coded based on their composite score when we're doing our benchmark data. And then there's individual scores which are highlighted on there. And these team meetings really are a collaborative way for us to talk about every single student, understand what their needs are, and then put them into groups that are really going to support where they need to begin their instruction. There's just a few more. The reason I love this picture on the bottom left is you can see how intently multiple people are staring at the data, and that takes a lot of professional development to go into truly understanding what is it that we're talking about, what does that mean, and then how do we make decisions around this data to inform our instruction. Again, our TOSAs and our turnkey trainers put together a resource for everybody. It's our landing page, and on this landing page there's things that help teachers turn to, like a flow chart, multiple flow charts actually, that guide the decision making around any particular student, where they're coming in and making decisions. We call that the GSD, greatest skill deficit. Determining goals, and this is an example of a student-friendly goal. So again, just like we want to make the reading brain accessible for students to understand, we want their goals to be connected to the reading brain and for them to know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it, and hopefully tracking their growth along the way. This resource page also has those high-impact routines that their teachers are learning during curriculum meetings, and then also lesson plan templates. So really, we have a wealth of resources at everyone's fingertips. And then one of the ways that we support teachers is bringing each grade level together at various points throughout the year, and teachers can collaborate and have conversations around things such as what's happening during wind time and how are we supporting our students. The path continues on. So on October 19th, all of our students began the Walk to Read model. Kindergarten is kind of the exception. Some buildings weren't quite ready to dive into it. Plank South did. And I'll show you some pictures of that. We have ongoing progress monitoring of students to make sure that the instruction is doing what we want it to do. We continue to provide more professional development. There's something different called temperature checks. And so temperature checks means we're getting a read on all students and where they are versus the progress monitoring are for students who are below benchmark or significantly below benchmark. And then just before Thanksgiving, we had regrouping conversations. So using our newest data to be able to take a look at our groups and make sure that students are being instructed based on their current lowest skill deficit. So more importantly, here's what it looks like in action. Here are some of our kindergartners. They start their day, they're our first group that walks to read at 8:35 every morning. We try to make sure that instructional time is maximized, which means kids need to know where they're going and what they need and be able to be on the move as quickly, as efficiently as possible. So it takes a lot of training, but they're getting there.
You make
Lots
it
of
sound so
visuals,
easy.
color coding, yes. And then here's a look at one of our kindergarten teachers in action. So she was using the reading brain as she was then connecting it right to this learning target of I can use Sound City to blend sounds together and say words. And so a lot of our teachers began with a very explicit lesson around what is the reading brain, and now it's just tied in throughout their lessons in their walk to read groups. This is a smaller group, an intervention group, and they don't have any materials in front of them right there, but they were incorporating movement as they were doing some phonemic awareness and practicing their sounds. And then later we're using this tool right here called the Alphabet Arc to help them to be able to identify letters. In another kindergarten classroom on the left, those students were identifying the medial vowel sound using a technique called a roller coaster, and then trying to pair a picture by distinguishing if it was coming from an A or an I. And then the next one was a joy to see. This little girl just jumped right up as soon as she saw what was on the board, and she said, "I'll show you what to do." And she went through, and she was going through each letter and saying its sound. And then we've got another teacher who's using her arm to model how you can segment a word, again, a phonemic awareness strategy, and then using one of the high-impact routines of phoneme grapheme mapping to help students to distinguish some sounds, and then they later build that routine into incorporating letters with that. And that was 3 minutes, I think, hopefully, of what I could have talked for a long time about, of our walk to read. Any questions?
Super rich. Oh my gosh.
I don't have a question. We watched it, and it was so remarkable. And the students, when they commented later, talked about how much they like to travel around. But actually watching it work was pretty impressive. I don't know if anybody could really grasp it as well. I know you explained it, but seeing it in the action is pretty
neat.
wonderful.
And when our board members were, and our teachers later reflected that they were a little bit embarrassed that you saw kind of the same thing, which was word chaining as they went to multiple different rooms. And I said, no, that's the beauty of it. There's some consistency. Those high impact routines are being used in different rooms, but it's differentiated based on the group size and then what skills are being used within those routines. So they felt better after that.
I always say, as opposed to the reading groups, you know, where I remember my son coming home and saying, "I'm not in the top reading group." And I said, that's okay. But these kids have they're just moving through their day without that same feeling.
Yeah, and that whole block is actually called win time, what I need time. And so that's how we talk about it with kids, is you go to the room that you get what you need in order to, support your learning growth, reading growth.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, let's hear about the secondary from Dr. Callahan.
All right. So you'll notice by the December 4th date, if you want to move the secondary principals quickly, you tell them that the board meeting is a week before it's. So I was planned, ready. You can ask Mr. Conley, first place, getting our stuff in. Turns out I had the wrong date, so I apologize for that.
All right.
So I just want to start by thanking the board and senior leadership for taking some time last week to come visit our building and engage with our students and our staff. And it was really fantastic to kind of show off some of the literacy work that we've been doing at the secondary level. And that really, I think, is not going to show up in the slides here tonight. But for the first 4 months of this school year, our 4 secondary buildings have been collaborating and connecting and using high-leverage, research-based practices to improve literacy instruction. And that's happening in our faculty meetings, that's happening in our department meetings, and that's happening in our PLC meetings every single day in the 4 buildings. So we are pretty proud of the work. We have a ways to go, but we're starting to see some success, and we appreciate that charge.
That's great.
So just a couple highlights from the secondary building. You can see Owl Middle engaging in the Rochester trip and some headstands. Schrader, Mr. Neenan already highlighted our Warrior State champions. I do want to give a special shout out to Mr. Micah. He's an English teacher here at Spry, and we did have 2 8th grade students on the team, Kenyatta and Allie.
Yeah.
So we're super proud of them and excited for their success. Thomas, as you heard from the liaison report, the extracurricular clubs have been very engaged in both altruism and connecting and performing with the community. Shout out to Thomas graduate, 2017 graduate Amanda Vestry, placed in the top 10 in the New York City Marathon, which is incredibly fast.
Incredible.
I don't think I could finish a 5K in 2 hours, so kudos to her. Owl High is seen taking literacy to new heights, both around campus and on the climbing wall. Spry, we engaged in some professional development this fall. I'm doing a book study with our staff, and we had a special guest author, Thomas graduate Andrew Mason, who came and signed some copies for our staff, and we had a great conversation just about the connections that we made with the text and with our professional practice. Willink enjoyed the nation's capital, always a fantastic trip, a lot of moving pieces, all amongst a government shutdown, which came with a lot of collaboration between the chaperones and the travel company. So both trips, Willink and Spry, were fantastic. And you can't top this for the last slide here. Goal Thanksgiving is one of the most fantastic events and traditions. As you can see, that big, long table, what a community that they have in that program. So that's it for the secondary report. Thank you.
All right, so I just got one other thing, but actually before I go to my last thing here, the other thing I would say is it was really fun this month when we went around as the board to go from Plank South to Spry and see the literacy goal in action at both levels and the continuity between the two, but the work that you guys are doing, can't thank you enough for your leadership in that as well. And certainly I want to look over to Dr. Leggett, certainly Dr. Chawell and Mrs. Land, who's not here, and their leadership as well, and making sure that this is something that's been a key piece for our district. So thank you very much, guys. It was great to see in action. I want to finally, I want to congratulate our New York State School Music Association Conference All-State participants. This is a huge, huge accomplishment. If anybody knows the music world, this is kind of like the Super Bowl for them. And so we want to highlight from Thomas, Luke F., Ethan S., Dominic M., and Daniel R. From Schrader, we want to highlight Finn L., Nate F., and Lila K., who is not in the picture. But we also, even the alternates, it's a huge accomplishment. So Matthew W. from Thomas, Stephen L. from Schrader, and Vasilios K. from Schrader as well. Again, huge accomplishments, and congratulate to them. And that, I believe, ends our campus news report for the evening. So, all right, thank you guys very much. All right, next, I think Aaron's not here, so I'm going to be the one that's going to introduce. If I could have our fun family from the Speech and Debate Club come on up, Mrs. Cody and Mrs. Conley. I'm going to let the two of you take it away. And as they're coming up and getting set, I would just say that as a district, this has been a prideful part of our district for many, many, many years. And to see us be successful at both high schools is something that I give a lot of kudos to our staff for this, because it is a point of pride. Our kids do extremely well, and they're so lucky to be a part of the Speech and Debate Club. So with that being said, Mrs. Conley, Mrs. Cody, I am going to let you guys take and run. Yeah, it's all
Well,
yours.
we're very appreciative of this opportunity to showcase our students. We have 2 students here today. Karem is a junior at Schrader. This is his first year on the speech and debate team. He is competing in one of the 2 debate categories, Lincoln Douglas debate. I'll let him read part of his constructive, which technically is 6 minutes long, but he's just going to read the first 4 minutes, and you can probably pick up on what the resolution is. It has to do with rewilding, which I didn't know anything about 2 months ago, but now I'm kind of an expert in. In any event, Karem, to prepare, has prepared both sides of the case, and at a traditional tournament, he went to one a couple of weeks ago, and no, you weren't on Saturday because it was the SAT day, but when you go to a tournament, you have to be ready to present both sides of the argument. So hour 1, you might be pro, or in his case, affirmative. In hour 2, you might be negative, and then they might flip a coin. So you have to keep all of the evidence on both sides of the issue in your head at all times. And one of the things that happens is that students, to fit everything in, go pretty quickly. I think Karem does a really nice job. Karem, I'm just going to let you, do you have your stopwatch? Or I'll time you?
Actually, I don't.
Okay, I will time you, so, because you don't want him to go 4 minutes, because I probably just used 10.
No,
so-
you're fine.
Oh,
You're
no,
fine.
okay,
You're fine.
fine.
Absolutely.
Fine.
Okay.
Go for it. Yeah, let him go for however long you need him to go.
Also, can you by any chance give like time signals?
Yes, what do
If
you
that's
want?
possible. Is my voice good, by the way?
We can hear you. What time signals do you want?
2, 1, and 30 seconds.
Okay, so if you're going to do your whole speech, which they're saying is.
No,
okay.
I won't.
Okay, so at 2 minutes, I'll give you 2. At 3 minutes, I'll give you 1. Can you help me, Amy? Okay, because this is hard for us old people. Okay,
This is exciting.
all right. Karem, whenever you're ready.
Okay. I affirm the resolution that the United States ought to revile substantial tracts of land. Before I go into my case, I would like to define some of the words in the resolution, and all my definitions are from Oxford Dictionary. Ought, a modal verb used to indicate duty, correctness, or a desirable state. Rewiling, the practice of helping large areas of land to return to their natural state. Substantial tracts of land, large area of land. My value today is environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability means maintaining natural systems in balance so that both humans and the planet can thrive for generations to come. It requires that we preserve biodiversity, protect ecosystems, and ensure the resources that sustain life do not collapse under human pressure. Because the resolution asks whether the United States ought to revile substantial tracts of land, the key question becomes whether this policy would sustain the long-term health of both the environment and humanity. Therefore, environmental sustainability is the most fitting value in today's round. My criterion is maximizing long-term ecological and human well-being. This means that any action is justified if it produces enduring benefits to both nature and society while minimizing long-term harm. Rewiling does exactly this. It restores degraded ecosystems, combats climate change, and strengthens agricultural systems that sustain human life. Under this criterion, a policy is moral and necessary when it ensures the survival and prosperity of both the planet and its people. I have 2 contentions. First, that rewiling restores biodiversity and ecosystem function, and second, that it mitigates climate change and reduces environmental instability. My first contention is that rewiling restores biodiversity and ecosystem function. For decades, industrial expansion and urban sprawl have fragmented ecosystems and driven species toward extinction. According to IPBES global assessment, over 1 million species are at risk of extinction due to human activity. Rewilding, which involves reducing native species and allowing natural processes to reestablish themselves, directly reverses this trend. Carver writes that rewilding creates self-sustaining ecosystems that require minimal human interference, meaning that once restored, these lands can maintain themselves. The Yellowstone's wolf reintroduction provides a well-known example. The wolves reduced overgrazing, revived vegetation, brought back beavers and birds, and even stabilized riverbanks. When ecosystems are allowed to function naturally, biodiversity increases, food webs balance, and ecological services like clean water and fertile soil return. Services humans depend on every day. By restoring biodiversity, rewilding ensures the continued health and balance of life on Earth, satisfying the criterion of maximizing long-term well-being. And my second contention is that rewilding mitigates climate change and reduces environmental instability. Natural landscapes act as enormous carbon sinks, absorbing vast amounts of CO2 that would otherwise heat the atmosphere. The Nature Conservancy found that rewilding just 30% of marginal U.S. lands could offset up to 15% of national carbon emissions annually. Forests, wetlands, and grasslands also prevent floods, reduce droughts, and maintain soil fertility, all vital to human survival. When climate disasters occur less frequently and ecosystems remain stable, communities suffer less displacement, fewer crop failures, and lower economic losses. Rewilding thus serves as both a climate strategy and a human protection measure. Under my criterion, this proves that rewilding increases the overall well-being of society and the planet alike. In conclusion, the United States ought to rewild substantial tracts of land because it restores biodiversity and ecosystem function and mitigates climate change. Rewilding is not merely about wilderness. It is about ensuring that humanity has clean air, fertile soil, and a sustainable food supply for centuries to come. Under the value of environmental sustainability and the criterion of maximizing long-term ecological and human well-being, the affirmative clearly upholds both moral and practical responsibility. For these reasons, I strongly urge an affirmative ballot. Thank you.
Keep in mind that that's only part of his constructive. After this, he would face a 3-minute cross-examination. As the affirmative, he would have a 3-minute affirmative rebuttal and then a 2-minute affirmative rebuttal at the end of the debate, okay? And he's done all this research using some resources that we have, but the debate topic changes every 2 months.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's not like this is, there's a new one for January, and I don't even want to think about what it is.
And they come up with the topic. They give you the topics.
The topic is done by the National Speech and Debate Association, and it's announced like a month before, so
Okay.
kids have an opportunity to prepare.
And you, like you said, you had to prepare at the same time the negative.
Yes.
yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And how many tournaments have you gone to with this resolution, 2 or 3?
I want to say 3.
Okay, so he's done that probably 6, 9 times.
Wow.
Okay, but
Well,
it's all changing. All right, Amy, I'm going to let you take over and introduce Gia.
Hello. We are here from the Thomas Speech and Debate team. So each one of our teams has both a speech and a debate team within itself. So Gia is here representing our speech side of things, so you can see that aspect of it. And each tournament that these students go to, they face 3 rounds in every tournament. So they have 3 different rounds to compete in. They face 3 different judges, and that's how we compile their score at the end of each tournament. This is also a team that starts in September and ends in May. All right, so it's the year through. Gia started off with us as a freshman, and in that freshman year, she traveled to both the state and national competition. As a league, both of our schools participate in 3 different leagues. We have our own local league. We're a member of the New York State Forensics League, as well as the National League as well. She also competed in her 10th grade year in both states and nationals, and we're hoping for this year.
And Gia was a finalist at Nationals last year.
Which is, so the
goodness.
national tournament changes whatever city is hosting it. For the last 2 years, both of our teams have traveled to Chicago. This upcoming tournament will be held in Washington, D.C. So Gia has participated in several of the speech events. There are 7 speech events total that students can choose from. If they're on the speech side of things, they can also double enter. She participated in declamation, which is a speech that has a maximum of 10 minutes, and that it has to be memorized. She has also participated in OI, which is poetry and prose, and it switches back and forth between those 3 rounds. And then she's also this year competing in original oratory, where she has to write a 10-minute speech that it has a structure to it, but also it deals with a social issue. So she wrote that by herself, and she's performing that one as well. Tonight she'll be doing a piece from her declamation piece that she went and won at states with, as well as progressed within the finalist round at nationals. So I will let her introduce that. And
Perfect.
I'll give you time signals.
So yeah, thank you for having me. This club is something that I am extremely passionate about, and I encourage everybody to just try public speaking at one time in your life, because I have definitely fallen in love with it. Thank you to my coaches. So yeah, this piece is my declamation piece from last year. I was fortunate enough to go very far with this last year at Nationals, so yeah, I'm just gonna do a little throwback and do a little snippet. It's funny, it's comedic, it's lighthearted, but also talks about feminism and a societal issue today. So, hope you enjoy. Ready? Okay. I want everybody to close their eyes and think of a dirty word. Like a really dirty word, okay? Go. Now open your eyes. Were any of your words ambition? I didn't think so. See, I've just started to wonder lately why female ambition is something people are so afraid of. Why do people have prejudiced opinions about women who want to accomplish things? Why is that seen as a negative? In a study by Georgetown University in 2005, a group of professors asked candidates to evaluate male efficient versus female efficient in politicians. Respondents were less likely to vote for power-seeking women than power-seeking men. Respondents also reported ambitious women as looking out for themselves and evoking feelings of disgust. And snap. Legally Blonde, an iconic film from the early 2000s starring Reese Witherspoon as Elle Woods, a ditzy teenage girl who got an A in the history of polka dots. Let's face it, ever since this role, Reese has been tagged to the incapable dumb blonde stereotype her entire acting career, when in reality, Reese is a powerhouse of a businesswoman, all while being a mom of 3. In Reese's 2015 Glamour magazine Woman of the Year speech, "Ambition is not a dirty word," she challenges us to look at the stereotypes of women all around the world, legally blonde or not. I am so excited to see that so many young women are here tonight. This all started for me when I was a young girl. I was 14 years old when I learned I love acting, and I still do. Acting allows me to slip into the skins of all different kinds of women. And no, not in a creepy Silence of the Lambs way, but in a way that lets me explore the full spectrum of humanity. Every woman I've ever played is strong and passionate and flawed, except for Tracy Flick. She is 100% perfect, but she made me say that. But I was also 14 when I learned I was ambitious. Like, really ambitious. Did I say that out loud? Let's talk about ambition. Now, in my life, I've always found more comfort in being the underdog, whether it was something people said I couldn't do or they said it was impossible. I always rose to the challenge. I enjoyed reaching for that impossible. I remember when I was 18 years old and applying to colleges, as one does. I had this one male college counselor. He looked at me and said, "Don't even bother applying to Stanford, sweetie. Your SAT scores are just not good enough." But I did anyways. And I got in. But no, it was not because of my SAT scores. So as I got into the film industry, I was doing dramas, and casting directors didn't know if I could be funny. So I did a comedy, Legally Blonde. But then my entire acting career, I was pigeonholed. I was doing comedies, and they didn't think I could be serious. I was doing dramas, and they didn't think I could be funny. So I became very curious about the state of the movie industry, specifically how the digital evolution was affecting the landscape of filmmaking, why studios were making fewer and fewer movies. So as I became curious, I started digging, and I hosted meetings with all of the heads of these different businesses that I had worked with for many years and made many movies with. Each one of these meetings started with something casual like, "How are your kids?" and "Wow, has it really been that long since Walk the Line?" But at the end of these meetings, I mustered up my courage and I asked, "So, how many movies are in production with a female lead?" And by lead, I didn't mean the wife of the lead or the girlfriend of the lead, the hero of the story. I was met with nothing. Blank stares, uncomfortable shifting, excessive blinking. No one wanted to answer the question because the truth was, no movies were in production with a female lead. And the only one that was in production with a female lead was turning a man's role into a woman's role. That's just a little part of it, but I'll end it now because I know my time's up. But thank you so much.
Can you just put up, we have just the comparison and the fact that we've been going to states and nationals for a long time. Amy has taken over the role of regional director for New York State for the Western New York region. She is also replacing Joanne, the icon Ham, as the national, or the moderator for the Diocese of Rochester, so she's representing our league at the state and national level. Last year, we had Gia and Sam Owens, both went to nationals, and Sam won first place at the state level, which was wonderful. It's been 20 years since we've had someone. So we're hopeful that, that this could happen again. Thanks very much for your support consistently. We really appreciate it.
Oh, those are great.
And there are the
pictures.
kids in Chicago, and that is Sam and Gia with Tommy Beck, who is the president of the National
Oh,
Catholic
that's so
Forensic
great.
League. So,
That's in Chicago, you said?
yes, that's in
Okay.
Chicago. And we went to Chicago for 2 years to make up for the COVID
That's right.
hotel
That's right.
contracts didn't get called.
Yeah,
So we
that's
had
right,
that.
I forgot, yeah.
But this year, we're in DC.
That's outstanding.
Okay, thank you.
Comments from the board? Stay right there a second. Any
Okay.
comments or any questions?
If anyone ever wants to come and judge, we're
We're
always looking for
looking for
judges.
judges.
It is a great way that the community can participate. I would love that.
Carol's already telling you, yeah.
Carol would do it.
Parents come, we've had former colleagues come. It's a wonderful way to get the community involved as well and really showcase just how much work these students put into this team.
And Sam and Matt have both volunteered to judge, and Sam has already judged this year. Matt Gressick, his younger brother Ryan is on the team.
I love it. So let me ask you a quick question. Karen and Jit, both juniors? Did I hear that right?
Yes.
I'm a junior.
Both are juniors, so you're here for this year and obviously for next year too. So obviously, hopefully, maybe thinking about using these skills to where you're going to go next after Webster. So that's exciting. But again, I would just say and echo again, like I said at the beginning, it is a prideful part of our district. And I am grateful for our students, and the two of you represent so many students, past and present, that are part of this. But we couldn't do it without the two of you leaders. And so it's great to hear how much you guys are doing for the kids. So thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, I actually will just really quickly, I am going to introduce Jim McEntee and Sage Miller. Mr. McEntee and Mrs. Miller, if you guys could take us away on a new exciting opportunity for our district and some of our students. I'm just going to...
Hello, hello, good evening. I promise we're not going to do any problem solving or math word problems tonight. We do know that there's math people amongst us, though, all over the place.
I know you guys are all terribly disappointed to hear that, though, because you would all love to do some math.
Let's be honest. I mean, we did pretty good last week, and I hope it was a lot of fun. We're here to talk about something that's kind of more like academic, I guess, if we have to, but about a potential new course offering that we have called AP Cybersecurity, how it came to be, and introduce the teacher, one of the teachers who helped make that happen. Over the summer, Ms. Miller and Mr. Fagan reached out about a new course offering that was offered from the College Board called AP Cybersecurity, and reached out to see if it was something that we would be able to offer for our students and add to our program. They did this because they thought that this course would be valuable and that students would find worth in it. These simple conversations is what started the whole process that brings us here tonight. Ms. Miller has been with the math department and a computer science teacher in Webster for over 20 years. She's an Oak Tree winner, a coach and leader for Monroe County Math League. She has been recognized by the teachers, the computer science teachers and computer science department at RIT for the great work that she does consistently and all of the great students that she sends them. And she is one of, I believe, 3, but I could be wrong, public school teachers that helps to write one of the computer science exams for the College Board. And all of those things are impressive, but most impressively is the stuff that she just does every single day with our kids. She is an amazing, amazing teacher. And this course is moving forward because of the work that her and Mr. Fagan did to make it happen. So I'll step back and let her talk about what this course could offer our district.
And really, this presentation about the course, nothing to do with me. But since there was so much about me, I will add in, most of my work is with the course Computer Science A, and that's what I am deeply involved in. Mr. Fagan brings to the table that he has been involved from the start of this cybersecurity course. He has worked with both industry and college level contributors to this course. So he's been in at the ground level for this course. Unfortunately, he had a conflict tonight, so he couldn't be here. He would probably do more justice to the course. I'm going to try and do a very high-level overview of it because I know you guys don't want all the down and dirty details. So cybersecurity is something we all deal with every day. I'm sure you see all the headlines. You get the notifications that your account has been hacked. Cybersecurity is how to defend against all of that. So we want to bring it to our students. They are going to be the people that are going to have to protect us on the World Wide Web in the future. They need to be able to do certain things, identify threats and vulnerabilities, understand how to manage and mitigate the risk. I don't know if everybody's on the same district email, but sure enough, today I got yet another one of those know before you click emails inviting me to some party. I was all ready to respond, and then I'm like, I don't know who this is from. Funny story, I know we don't have time for funny stories, but we get those. And so last year we got one just as I was starting my class that had been like talking about that in the unit. And I was like, oh, I have to show this. And it was unfortunately one that had one of the QR codes. And so I was not scanning the QR code. But as soon as I put it up on the projector, some of my students scanned the QR code, so I got kicked into retraining. Yes. Anyhow.
That's great. It is a funny story. I like that.
So then we really talked about why you shouldn't do that. This course, as I said, has been developed with college professors, with industry, high-level industry people, and of course, every College Board course also involves high school teachers. So Mr. Fagan was in from the start on this one. And he has worked personally with many of the people that you see listed on that slide. The course will be equivalent to a one-semester college introduction course in cybersecurity, so it would be like their first course that if they're going into that field. There are no prerequisites. There will be no prerequisites here in Webster. That's really kind of neat because ninth graders could take it if they wanted to. And seniors could take it if they want to. That's really interesting about all our computer science courses is that they are truly a mixed grade level course. I never know if I'm talking to a freshman or a senior when I'm in my class because they're all just in the class together. But this is a sort of a special AP course in that it's part of the Career Kickstart designation, and that's a new area that College Board is trying to delve into where students don't just get college credit, they also get some sort of certification. So that if they're not going into college, they might be able to take this course and go right into a trade school or right into a job and use it.
That's great.
So that's kind of a neat thing about this course. It's built on 4 skills. All AP courses are built on skills and topics, I'll say, learning objectives. And so the skills for cybersecurity are analyzing risk, detecting attacks, mitigating risk, and collaborating. And those skills get applied in 5 different units. Each unit in this course, because the idea is to make them career ready, each unit is based on a scenario, a real world scenario that they would find out in the job market. So every single unit has a real world scenario that goes with it. Why do we want to bring this? Here's a great slide that says it all for me. There's a critical need for cybersecurity, where you see some news headlines saying, do we need programmers anymore now that AI is programming? I would argue that we do, because eventually we're going to need people who understand what AI is doing. We already need them. But the internet's not going away. It's just not. And just yesterday I saw a headline saying that now hackers are using AI to make stronger attacks. So it meets a critical need. We need people to defend us on the internet. It's College Board, so it's a rigorous curriculum. It has these authentic scenarios and develops a certification, so it's real world application, and creates a pathway to opportunity for students by not having any kind of barrier to entry, having no prerequisites. And that is my overview. Do you have any questions for me?
So is this dual credit or AP?
This is AP.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't know if Monroe Community College would partner up to add on to it. If they are, we'd be more than willing to partner up with them, but the framework of the course is coming from the College Board, not something that's from MCC.
Got it. Yeah, because living in the medical industry, I mean, there's a huge need for this stuff, right? And that's why I asked them the question to do a credit versus AP, right? Because if you reached out to local universities and stuff, are they going to accept this and where does it go? And again, I think it's really good. And I think there's a lot of opportunity even within industry for you guys to partner with, so.
And one of the things that seemed a little bit promising was the credentials as opposed to the credits or the credential option. It really does, I think, colleges tend to take a while to like give a thumbs up or down on things and curriculum change, whereas if it is just an accreditation, I think that they're a little bit more flexible and nimble and responsive to change.
Yeah, and that's why I was leaning more toward the dual credit, only because, again, those transfer in a lot easier than the APs.
I will say that the AP has worked very hard to, like, all SUNY schools are required to accept a 3 or higher for credit on any AP course. Private schools, nobody can control. But most AP courses are accepted at a 3 or higher. It just is depending on what you're majoring in. So it is possible that if a student wants to major in cybersecurity, they wouldn't accept this credit because the school wants to make sure that they have what they need. But I have so many students who say, I want to go into cybersecurity. I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, I don't know. It just says there's a lot of jobs out there. Well, do you know anything about it? Would you like to go to a cybersecurity competition? Well, no, it's just what I'm going to do in the future. So I do think the course will allow our students to explore this before committing to 4 years of debt.
Again, I think it's great. I mean, when you look at, everyone wants to do data analytics, right? I can tell you my son took his first college data analytics class and said, I'm not doing that. I don't want to be a programmer. I don't want to do this stuff. And I think the more we can introduce this at the high school level, I think helps set that up. So again, I think you guys are doing a great job not setting kids up to change majors once they get a year or two in. So this is great.
They do a tremendous job.
I would just add, first of all, number one, I think that the first exam of this is this year, right, in 26? In May of 26 is the first exam? I'm pretty sure.
I think there's only a pilot this year.
Is it a pilot? Okay.
I don't think it goes live until the 26, 27 school year.
26, 27 for us, for sure, but I didn't know if the actual College Board was going to offer an exam.
No, we're coming on right at,
so the 27th
right
the
at
first
ground
exam?
level. There's probably a pilot this year, but to get into those pilots, it's tricky.
Yeah, no, exactly. So
I tried to get into the pilot for our last course,
I
and
was
I
liking
couldn't
our
do it.
timeline.
Yeah,
So I
we're
love
right in
that,
on the
number
ground
one.
level.
Number two, and then the last thing I would just say is that we are so fortunate in this district to have you and Mr. Fagan both, because again, Jim said it best. Local leader involvement, state leader local involvement, or state leader and involvement, and national leader and involvement for both of you. And it's a feather in a cap, and I don't know another district that has that. So we're fortunate that we have you both. So this is exciting, and I'm excited.
It's funny when
you
you're
guys are
looking
bringing
at the
this to
kids and you're
board.
like, do you like AP Computer Science Principles or AP Computer Science A? There's 3 people in America who write the test.
Yeah, I know it.
And one of them
right here
could be
There's
teaching
3
you.
high school teachers, and unfortunately, there's a limit on how long I'm allowed to help. So this will be my last year doing
unbelievable.
that. It's very sad.
It's all right, but you've been able to do it, though. and we're
Yes, I've done it
fortunate
for my 5-year max, and I have enjoyed every minute of it.
That's great. Thank you very much. Do we
Thank
need to
you.
vote on
Thank
this?
you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, yep. Can I have a motion to approve the AP cyber course, please? So moved. Jeff, second. Michele, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
All right. Thank you guys
Awesome,
very much.
Thank you. Mr. Freeman.
And now, Mr. Freeman.
Is it the way I said it? Is that what it is?
Changing the weather.
Right.
All righty. First up is our September financial report, treasurer's report. September really is just a month that is focused on tax levy collections as far as our financial position, which gives us some flexibility on the investment side. So that's what the report is showing. If anybody has any questions on it, please let me know.
Any questions? Nope. No? Okay. All right, easy peasy. Motion, hold on, I think I got ahead of ourselves. Yep. Motion to approve the September 2025 Treasurers Report and quarterly reports. So moved. Carole, second. Linda, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now, Kip.
All right, next up is the capital project bid acceptance. So you can see we have a considerable amount of work. This is going to be 3 summers worth of work that we just bid out a couple weeks back for approval. All the bidders have been de-scoped and reference checked, and so they are good to go. You will see I did upload for one of the bids a withdrawal letter. That occasionally does happen within 24 hours. Somebody writes the wrong number down on their bid packet and then gets back to the car after opening it, realizes, oops, we've made a typo. It happens all the time. And so I've included that just to why that low bid that we opened and read was not selected, because that vendor withdrew. So just to point that out. So we have a lot of Spry construction in this bid. We have a lot of Thomas, and we have Willink roof replacement as well. Also included in this bid, we overlapped the recently approved in May, the $500,000 project for work to be done at Schrader in the gymnasium electrical work. And then the $100,000 capital project was also bid in here for all the work at Plank North to work on the lift for the stage in the cafeteria / torium, and the lighting system as well in there. So that is all included, plus from the 2023 capital improvement project. So a lot of work, good vendors. I just will point out what is unfortunately the market right now is we only had one bidder for electric. And so that is what we've been seeing just because of the demand for electricians in the area in New York State. And we've seen some consolidation there. So, questions on any of it?
Guess not. All right. Motion to approve the capital project bid acceptance, please. So move Michele, second Linda, all in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you.
That time of year.
Here we go.
I know.
We need like a bell or something to ring or something for you, Bri, to say, all right, this is our beginning of our budget season.
Well, it doesn't really end for me.
Okay, good point.
Nonstop. And I think I have
For
a
the
fun,
next year.
fun diagram in there for everybody to kind of show that. So let's talk a little budget kickoff for everybody. I want to do a little state budget learning, some state updates, formula predictions, and then look at the 2 areas that we kind of know the most about right now for the budget already. Just give you a little sneak peek on that. So I've been taking these courses every Tuesday on learning about state government, and so this one kind of hit me, and I wanted to include it as part of the state budget cycle, because we do a lot of advocacy work, and so part of this conversation was, when is the best time to advocate? So you see those 3 data releases. Those are extremely important for us when we're trying to develop the budget, because it's all the data for state aid and how much we're predicted. And then overlapped on the inside is that just kind of circular pattern every year of what the state does. So I could start with the purple enacted budget. That is April 1, in quotes, every year if it's on time. And then over the summer, early fall, the state does their financial plan update. And really, that is the time for advocacy in the state budget cycle then. That late summer, fall is the time to get, every group does it. It's not just schools, but all the different groups that go to Albany and promote whatever cause or group or association they're with. Then you get the regent's proposal, and then in January, the executive budget. So you see the timing. We get our first release of what the next year is going to look like in November, and then in January, the executive comes through. And then in February, we get updated numbers right before the Assembly and the Senate release their budgets. And then the negotiation goes on. And part of this is really that, any kind of advocacy for anything on the educational sector is really done before the executive budget is proposed, that there isn't a lot of room for wiggle room once that comes out for adding new stuff from the one house budgets, just because of the way it's designed. So I just wanted to kind of, preface that. That was something new. I thought was an interesting learning. And I liked the way it broke it down for everybody, because we often talk about this stuff with school boards.
I thought that was helpful. Can I add a little to that? Because I think it actually, to make it more home for us. So Brian said, summer, late fall is when we should really be advocating, which is what we did. We met with the governor's office this summer. Brian and I actually had a chance to meet with them directly from Monroe County School Boards. And then we, as a board and senior leadership team, were able to meet with our 3 local representatives this fall, and we plan that accordingly. And then if you would say, then we get all the way over to the one house budgets, and we're going back at that point to advocate for what might be missing a little bit here or there. But like Brian said, it's the pre-work that really means the most. But that's good. I like that. That's a neat cycle. Thanks, Brian.
Yep. So this is the most important thing, I think, about our state budget cycle, and what it means for state aid this year for us, that it's an election year coming up for all of our state representatives. And that always adds a little something. On the state outlook side, I just grabbed a few snapshots, because depending on the day, either New York State's looking pretty good or the sky's falling. There doesn't seem to be a lot of in between right now on the prediction models of where we're going to hit our finances, but there's a little doom and gloom, but then we're also anticipating higher tax revenue than predicted when the budget was set. So we're a little all over the place, so it's kind of tough to read the tea leaves of where we're going to go for this year right now. So just a couple headlines that I've seen over the last couple weeks to month that I've been on the outlook for. Will we see more recommendations from the Rockefeller report? We got a couple in last year. Will they make their way into the formula for state aid? Will the budget be on time? I'm going to guess probably not done by April 1, but we'll see, because that's been the past couple of years. Some other items, the EV bus mandate, we're getting some pretty strong indications that that's going to be pushed back, because they're realizing there just isn't capacity. Thanks to our friends talking about cybersecurity, I think people are realizing AI is sucking the power out of the grid, and so something can't happen if we want to continue down that road. So I think we'll see something there. UPK funding too, will that be made uniform? I always like to put more state holidays, because I know there is legislation that's sitting out there to create more state holidays, which would be, it's not financial. It could be financial for us, but it's more of a headache when we sit down with the school calendar and try to squeeze all the days in. So that's something to be on the lookout for, because it is an election year. And so generally in election years, something like that happens. So the only thing I can predict is we're going to get some surprises of what's going to happen.
I'm glad you put that in there, and I won't say what senator, but they seem to think that, I can't imagine why that would have anything to do with an election year. 100%. It was like a week later, something came out, and, oh, isn't that funny, in an election year. So I'm glad you put that in there, because it 100% comes back to that.
Yes, it does. So here's our November database. I apologize. I waited to the last minute because I wanted to get some data for everybody to kind of show where the data is showing us for 26, 27. But this goes all the way back to November 15th when it's supposed to be done. First person I talked to that morning was Mr. Neenan, saying, hey, it's not there, but it's a Saturday. We'll check back on Monday. So I've literally been checking every single day besides Thanksgiving. And finally, today, I guess they're having some issues with staffing and some other problems. They were trying to do an upgrade, so none of our information was available for the November data drop. So we'll see what the next couple weeks. If when it does come, we have a workshop in January. I'll just throw some updates there so everybody has that information as well. But unfortunately, no fun numbers to play with tonight. I can't wait to unwrap that one under the tree. And I probably will check on Christmas morning. New York never makes it easy. Concerns on no data yet. I was concerned yesterday, but today when we found out it might be more on the technical side and manpower shortage and some turnover there, I wasn't like, oh, well, something's going to happen because none of it's available. I came down a little bit on that aspect because of the conversation I had today with a state level employee. So any questions on that information? Alrighty. So what do we know what's going to happen right now? Pension information has come out. So salaries for pensions drive the rates. And so I think that's important. It's, a 1-2 combo. They're tied together. As one goes up, so does the other. So TRS rates are estimated right now at 825 to 875. They give us a window until it becomes final in February. That will be down from 959. So salary increase plus a rate decrease usually means neutral once you put all the staffing together. So probably not a TRS budgetary increase, which is great news. ERS is doing the exact opposite. It is final in September. It is going to 17.6, and that is up from 16.5. So salary increases plus rate increase is like a double increase. So just something to watch as we finalize salaries in those areas coming up as part of the budget process. Workers' compensation, we're setting rates as a consortium next week. Small possible increase in dental rates in our life insurance plans on the benefit side. Minimum wage is moving to $16, and then it increases at the rate of inflation. So we have that to manage as well on the salary side. A little bit on the healthcare. RASP 1 Medicare plans are taking a huge jump. I think we've talked about that a lot. But what's interesting for 26-27 is our 3-year RFP is up in January 27, which is smack dab in the 26-27 budget year. So I'm projecting a large increase for that process, greater than a 50% increase in the plans. Was the change worth it? Hopefully the next slide answers that. I also don't think we will be changing providers when it all shakes out. And I'll explain that on that next slide. So the active employee plans for RASH 2, it's always difficult to budget for because it operates on the IRS fiscal calendar of January 1 to December 31st. So it creates some budgeting challenges. We have to make estimates of what's going to happen in that second half of the fiscal year. And we also have a large enough population that movement between plans can swing year-to-year increases. So we know it's a 9.9% increase for 2026, estimating something comparable for 2027. The active employee plans seem to have leveled off after that blip year that's pretty high. So, was the change worth it? This is a fun little illustration of, yes, it was. So these are all the districts and the really 5 plans that were converted from Excelis to Aetna as RASP 1. So, and then comparing the years. So Webster, we're down there. We have, at the time we pulled this over the summer, 870 people. And so our costs were $1.8 million. This is just pure premium. And then our final for 26 is going to be 2.6. So a 45% increase. But we also have the corresponding Excelis data. If you look at what that plan would be it's at $5.5 million. So we are still $3 million to the good by making that switch year over year. So even though Aetna, you know, we could have a debate whether they were very aggressive, they wanted the business and shot low, or how much did the Inflation Reduction Act really impact that. I don't think anybody expected the donut hole to be closed, and that was the single greatest cost impact. And so, but you could see it's collectively a $29.3 million difference for the county school districts to make that. Now, tells us a couple things when the 3-year is up. Yeah, Aetna will come up because of that, but Excellus is going up too, and it'll all be correspondingly in proportion. So I wouldn't expect too many changes. But this was shared for all the districts, and I thought it was visually, since it's all of us together, how many total, and the difference for all the districts is still there in spite of we're seeing these increases.
I don't understand why all of this is going up so fast, and, I mean, I'm sure.
The federal government, that legislation change forced the plans to change all their designs. It was literally the greatest change to Medicare since Medicare was invented. Because everybody always, like, the number one question we always get is, how come we don't offer the plans with the $0 premiums? The billboard on the highways when our retirees would ask us every time during open enrollment, how come we don't have any of those? Or how come Wilford Brimley's product at 1 o'clock in the morning that I see, we don't have that? And the answer is because that donut hole made prescription drugs so costly when people got into it. You can say, yeah, we're not going to charge you anything on the premium because we're going to make it all back on the prescription drugs. Now that is closed. So, we can't make as much money over here, so we got to charge premiums. That's where the zero goes away. So this has worked out for our retirees and people on our plans tremendously. There is no question about that. Prescription drug costs have changed to the benefit of our members. It's changed to the benefit of the federal government because they're subsidizing it less. The people it hasn't benefited is the people that are the plan sponsors that have to pick up the premium costs.
Well, as a retiree, I'm very happy with the plan. However, as a board member overseeing fiscal responsibility, it's sort of...
Yeah, but it's still the right decision. I think we'd be in a worse spot if if the districts didn't move. And we all have better plans. You know, I think we could collectively say that.
For
I'm
sure.
sure there's, one or twos out there that it might not have worked out for, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and this isn't just us. This is everybody that's
I
in
understand.
some sort of a hit like
But it
this.
just, I didn't get it. I don't want to get it.
Well, it's hitting employers,
you.
but it's also hitting those of us that have it coming out of our paychecks too, because in the last couple of years,
Yeah.
the amount that comes out of my paycheck to cover my family has easily increased a couple $100s.
And that, too, the active to the retiree increase is felt more by the active employees, because you're talking about a $30,000 family plan going up 10% versus the entire Medicare plan is, $170 a month. So you're going from $17 to $25 a month, where on the active side, if you're at a 10% or a 15 or a 20, that has some, a little bit more bite to it.
It does.
When the plan is 20 times more.
Thank you.
All right, so next steps coming up right now, gathering the data for the tax cap calculation. We have our long-range planning workshop in January. Also with our reserve plan review, get ready for that. Come back after the holidays with that workshop for everybody, talk about reserves. And then we're preparing our community feedback process with the communications team this week to get that ready to go out in the month of January as well. And of course, the website's up and running. It's got a lot of last year's stuff, but we'll start converting over to this year's. Questions?
So Brian, have we done any sort of data comparison with, obviously, Linda and I were just talking about the concern with it expiring in 2027, right, the contract? Of what Excelis and Aetna are doing with expiring contracts this year? Are they seeing big jumps, and what are they bidding on new things expiring in 2026, not just ours?
I have to take a look at that. I don't know anybody locally like the Finger Lakes plan or like the Genesee Valley Region plan. I don't think any of them are up, so I'd have to probably dig a little deeper than that. But I know they've got that clause in their contracts that the feds change something, we have the right to reprice. And so we're seeing that across the state.
Yeah, because the concern would be, obviously, Aetna low bid the first time, right? So there's got to be some adjustment. And the question I would be interested in is, what is Excelis doing in new competition in 2026? Are they getting more comparable? And just to give us a flavor of where this may
So
be.
that's for 2026. They're still $3 million apart.
Right.
So Excelis is raising their Medicare rates correspondingly.
Okay. Thing that scares me on this, obviously, is the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That was FYI, right?
Mhm.
Awesome. All right, next up are our policy changes. Are there any questions? This is, as you can see, there's a new policy regarding cybersecurity. And then as part of our ongoing cycle, we just have some revisions to update anything that needed updating or collaborating with new district language or us as a Webster, like to personalize it to us. There's a lot in there, so I don't know if anyone has any questions. Awesome. I'm not going to read all of the numbers, but this is a motion to approve first read of all of these revisions and the one new policy to move forward to a second read next week. So moved. Carole, second. Linda, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, that brings us to board member highlights. If anyone has anything they'd like to highlight.
So I think we already talked about it. Obviously, the board visits to Plank and Spry. Dr. Callahan, thank you again. It's always amazing when we get to visit the schools. When you look at Plank, I mean, that walk to read program, seeing it, and our opportunity to sit down with the kids in a classroom, and for them to share. They literally went around and told us what they liked about the program. And the kids were really, really excited. The other interesting part was, I know, kind of talked a little bit about it with Principal Doyle of, we saw the same thing, but we also saw the flavor with teachers being able to be themselves, right? We saw some interaction, we saw games, and the excitement in the elementary school was incredible. So again, great. When we visited Spry, it was great to see all the different grade levels and all the interaction and how things are going. The students at both locations were so welcoming for us. And I think that was the big thing. And I always go back to, we do a great job with the education side, but the social side, we saw such great interaction and such confidence. And again, we talk about the whole student. I think every time we visit the schools, I become more and more impressed by that the ability to communicate with adults, the ability to really tell us what's going on is just something that I'm blown away by. So again, I want to thank Dr. Callahan, Principal Doyle. I think they were great.
Agreed. Yep. Thanks.
I had the privilege of attending the Author Talk by Julie Perry. One of the things, I was hypnotized by her presentation, and the auditorium was full, packed, and she had total control. I've never been, over a long period of time, in a high school auditorium where everybody was attentive in such a way and engaged. And we talked to her later. She was delightful. So I wish that the high schools could have more author talks. It was pretty great. We also attended the Friendsgiving for the Black and Brown Student Unions from Thomas and Schrader, along with the Young Women's Empowerment Group led by Nicole Bernardo Nitsch, and she really put together a huge group in a very small space. That should be looked into.
We're going to fix that next.
Yeah. But what great spirit and enthusiasm, and it was an honor to do that. I went to the Willink and DeWitt PTSA meetings and participated in the fundraiser where the PTSA raises funds to support the food pantries and other needs. And we packed up because we're trying to get things out. 2 cars full of kitchenware and things for the fundraiser, and it's so much fun. And I love it when they have PTSA meetings in person, so I can actually do it. So I'm so grateful for everything that we get a chance to do as a board, as board members.
I just have a couple things. Today, the subcommittee from strategic planning, the AI subcommittee, met for an all-day work group. Pretty amazing. I was probably the most computer challenged person in the room. But it really is fascinating, and it's great to listen to how different teachers are using AI within their classrooms and what their hopes and dreams are, right? Because it's obviously not going away. So they're trying to learn as much as they can because we know that we have to educate children to safely navigate it. So it was a great, great day. They've just been an incredible group to work with this year, so I'm grateful for them. And it's such a hard time of year to give up a whole day of teaching and to find subs as well. So it was packed and lots of great brains talking. With the holidays coming up, Schrader and Spry, and I know Willink and Thomas are also doing their Cocoa and Kindness and Candy Canes in the Loop, so don't tell anybody. So if anybody's around, Schrader's is on the 16th at 8 a.m. in the Loop, and Spry's is on the 19th. It's cold, but it's so much fun. Janice and I did it last year at
I'll be there, too.
Yeah, so it's a great time. I just want to also give our legislators a shout out. They came and met with us, spent quite a bit of time, and I really felt like they listened to what Webster's needs were. So I'm hopeful that they can do some advocacy on our behalf this coming year. And that also leads me to Monroe County School Boards, where they held their Zoom advocacies this week, and that is just in preparation for the legislative breakfast in February. So they're trying to be better prepared, and so meeting ahead of time and letting the legislators know what Monroe County School Board's position papers are will help for the breakfast to go more smoothly and have better conversations. So it was a busy week.
Yeah, that was a great meeting. You go ahead, Phil.
No, I was just going to say at our executive meeting last week, they also talked about how they've really been stressing to the legislators that having them there at the breakfast and not a liaison is extremely important. So it's not about like catching them off guard or having difficult conversations, but like, here's the preparation, here's what we're talking about and why we're advocating for these things. And please make room in your calendar so that you can be there.
Right.
It's just a little different when it's a representative who doesn't know and is just taking notes to bring back, and then you never hear from them again. So hopefully, it's usually pretty well attended by the actual legislators, but every once in a while there's one or two. But so they're also stressing that it's really important for themselves to be there.
Yeah, agreed. Yesterday, I was on Zoom, and there was 8 different offices representative from the staffers, but that was on purpose. They invited the staffers to this one so that the staffers can bring back what the positions are. Correct. And then they can educate. And I think that that's going to help,
that's what the hope was,
our elected officials feel more prepared going into it, which is new this year. The other thing that's going to be new for the breakfast that morning is they're not going to do the time to speak at the end. They're going to use that time and actually put it into the tables. That was at the request of the legislators.
That's awesome.
So the legislators wanted more individual time at the tables and didn't, it felt like they were always having to say something, but it was better used at the tables. So those are the two adjustments.
Awesome. Here. The only other thing I'll add to Carol's Friendsgiving is that Primetime 585 was there. So if you're interested in seeing some clips of the event, like she said, both Black and Brown student unions and then Young Women's Empowerment. She was there with her husband and her son, and there's some really good video clips online that really encompass just all of the preparation from the clubs and the importance of the event. So check that out if you can. And we did all of our coffee carts last month, so it's always good to just bring that back to the table and how awesome that is to get to every single building and really every single employee that, unless they're absent that day, we, in the month of November, I mean, I'm at most of them, not all of them, but you especially, hit every single staff member, no matter what their role is in a building, and offer coffee and cookies and just a hello. We wish you a great holiday season. It's just awesome. So it was another good month.
It
Yeah.
really is. It's a great
Yeah.
tradition. Yep.
With the union, WTA was huge in sponsoring that with us this year. So I want to make sure that's pointed out as well, because
Yeah, all three
we had
had
board
to say.
reps, yes, board leadership, district leadership, and WTA leadership, and they were a huge integral part of that this year. So of keeping that going, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Great job.
All right. With that, next up is the consent agenda. Are there any questions of anything in the consent agenda? Okay, if not, then may I please have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda? So moved. Carole, second. Michele, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, that brings us to visitor speaking time. As per board policy, speakers have to sign up by noon on the day of the meeting. So I believe we have one speaker signed up tonight. Our next meeting for availability to speak is January 13th. So Ms. Spencer? Okay, I thought so. Hi, Jen. We spoke a few weeks ago, but I wanted to make sure, put a face with a name. Okay. And we went over everything. So there is the light system there, green and red, yeah, but I think I told you you have up to 4 minutes.
Yes, you did.
Green is good, yellow is 1 minute?
1 minute.
1 minute, red is up. I always forget.
No worries, good. Okay. So good evening, members of the board. My name is Jen Spencer. I'm here to speak tonight on behalf of my two sons. This is regards to New York State education law, the ban on smartphones, section 2803. I'm just going to go through my narrative, what I've experienced as going through this process. So my name is Jen Spencer. I have been with the school district for 15 years. Throughout the time, I have consistently worked with the district to secure services and supports needed for my son's learning environment and is safe and set up successfully. Never had any issues. And I have Francine and others here who we have worked hand in hand. I hear other parents say how difficult it's been. I've heard stories to obtain certain services. And I never fully believed their experiences until I went through the process myself. There is no reasonable basis or precedent for denying my sons the exceptions. There are specific exception provisions in place for this reason alone, for their documented diagnoses. My middle was out in the hall, food allergies, anaphylactic, asthma, ADHD, autism, and now OCD, all of which are required and documented in their IEP and 504, along with supporting medical documentation. This acceptance for accommodation allows not only within their education and medical plans, but also within a broader framework that supports their disabilities through New York State OPWDD, developmental disabilities, and their self-direction budgets. The exception denial I received was generic. It was a cut-and-paste template containing typos and incorrect pronouns. This is not a minor detail. It signals lack of care, attention, and individualized review. The option was to carry your cell phone and don't get caught, which contradicts the district's care attributes, essential skill, core beliefs of integrity, respect, and accountability. More concerning, follow-up emails and phone calls went unanswered. I was effectively ghosted by administration. Only when my email was forwarded to speak at the board, the next morning I received an outreach that felt more like a fact gathering without apparent input from administrators directly involved. In any professional setting, this would be unacceptable. In my work setting, this is unacceptable. In a school system where trust, safety, and accountability are foundational, it's even more serious. So the district highlights CARE attributes: cooperation, accountability, respect, and excellence. I don't think there was cooperation. It seems a lot of stonewalling. Accountability, no one at the district level has taken accountability for this process. Respect, lack thereof, unprofessional. Excellence requires careful, individualized decisions for students with disabilities, not templates and not silence. The district's essential skills include integrity, communication, collaboration. I keep saying these, and I'm here because those standards have not been met. The core beliefs, students first, collaboration, communication, accountability, must apply not just to students, but the adults responsible for supporting them. I've asked several times for individual consideration of this exception and accommodation, a transparent explanation of denial, and commitment to a respectful, timely process moving forward. Not just for my son, but for every family navigating these systems. Do better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, I believe we've reached the end of our meeting. Are there any other things to bring up? We're good? Sounds good. Carole, I know this is your thing. Time for adjournment. Motion, Carole. Second, Michele. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.